Wolfpack, what is going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Rose Street. RoseStreetJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves here with your Week 7 sit starts. Next week, we will be at the midway point. It's crazy. We're just 1 week away, already halfway through this fantasy season. I know for a lot of us, it's filled with pain, injuries, brutal beats here. But ultimately, we all have that one goal, making it on into those playoffs. So let's go. Let's make sure we get this one right. These bye weeks are where the cream rises to the crop, and we are going to make sure to take it all down. So, of course, I have a handful of news and nuggets. Of course, waking up this morning, no Travis Etienne, for example, for that London game. So if you got those London game questions, get it on in. I am going to be signing off a little early today. I am a Pats fan, and ultimately, hopefully you can all understand that this is I got to go and watch my Pats at exactly 9:30. So I'll answer questions all the way up till then. I'll make sure to get through this news as fast as possible. As always, so appreciated for anybody willing to toss a super chat. You get to cut the line. You can get your question answered right from the jump, and it helps us keep the lights on over here at RotoStreetJournal.com. So we prepare to move into the new Wolf Den, the new home that we just bought. So excited. But let's rip through this real quick, and I'll just say I'll go through like maybe 2 Thursday night takeaways because it's a garbage game. Yeah, you either had the Broncos defense, Javonte Williams, or you didn't really care about this one. But 14 carries, 88 yards, and 2 scores for Javonte Williams. He, over his last 4 games, has played 63% of the snaps, 12.3 carries per game, which is right around 45% of the share, 5.1 yards per carry, and 4.5 targets per game. Javonte is really starting to step up. And I said on Thursday, I just feel he hasn't looked great. He looked awesome. And maybe it's just the Saints defense. They're just that bad. They've given up some monster games to running backs, especially as of late. So I'm not here crowning Javonte quite yet, but he looked way better than I've seen him all season long. It finally seems like maybe that burst is actually back that we kept hearing about. The only other thing was like, what was up with Courtland Sutton? We talked about how he had more targets than Jamar Chase entering this game. Well, he didn't catch a single ball on Thursday night, so hopefully he didn't play him. He definitely was garbage. The rest of the game, it's like, Kamara really just gets crushed by Spencer Rattler. Oh, no bueno there. And like, who's going to fill in now for Rashid Shaheed, who is done for the year? Ultimately, we did see a lot of people talking about Bub Means and asking, can I get him in my lineup? Most of you, we said no, I don't play this guy. And he did okay, 3 catches for 37 yards. But it was actually Mason Tipton who had 6 catches, 48 yards. Neither one of these guys, though, Rattler is not overly encouraging. But once Derek Carr comes back, somebody's going to have to step up. And maybe it's Cedric Wilson, who had 6 catches, 57 yards, and 1 touchdown on 7 targets. Perhaps he could fill that role as well. The only other takeaway I did have is, in addition to Javonte thriving, Audric Estime had another fumble. I know I was saying this is a good, interesting stash ahead of the game. At this point, especially, I really recommended that for like a Yahoo, where you could cut the guy should he not perform. He didn't perform. He fumbled. He looked okay on his 5 carries, but of course he had yet another fumble. And so Sean Payton, I can't imagine, is going to go back to him with any type of eagerness. But Kendra Miller did have 36 yards on his 6 carries, looking okay there. So that's all I had for Thursday night. Like I said, I want to rip through these as fast as possible. But thank you again so much for being here early on in the Week 7 morning. If you guys don't mind hitting that thumbs up button, it really does. The heart button, the thumbs up, it boosts it out to more people. It helps us get past the algorithm and ultimately grow the channel. We've seen a lot of new subscribers these last few weeks this season. It's been incredible. So thank you again so much. And if you're new here, we'd love to have you join long-term by hitting that subscribe button. But thank you guys again. And if you want to cut the line, that super chat's the way to do it. And like I said, I'll be off at 9:30 for the Pats. Week 7 QB news, not a whole ton here to cover, but ultimately the Steelers are somehow planning to start Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. You guys, if you've watched the show at all, know my take on Russell Wilson, the just softest player in the NFL. I cannot stand him. I think the teammates are going to be upset about this. Everybody seems to love Justin Fields there. And so I don't understand it. They're 4-2. They played well. Justin Fields has had a couple mistakes, but really most of those losses were not on him at all. So I don't know what the Steelers are doing. I think Russell Wilson stinks. I guess it's one of those situations, if you have George Pickens, you're like, oh, I guess it can't get worse than this. But ultimately, from a real-life perspective, this makes no sense. He is so immobile, Russell Wilson. He's going to get smashed by that brutal offensive line. I think we're going to be seeing Justin Fields sooner than later, but neither of those guys are fantasy relevant this week. Tua Tags is going to return potentially as early as next week. So if you have one more week, another window, and it's probably already closed at this point, my guess is you would have had to do it over the bye week. is if you want to buy some Dolphins here, we should be seeing Tua back against the Cardinals next week. And that means time for Tyreek, time for Waddle to all get huge bumps up in the rest of season rankings. So if their owner is scrambling, Devon Achane as well, they're scrambling right now. I've seen Raheem Mostert dropped in a bunch of leagues too. Check in on your Dolphins. This is the time to go buy them before Tua returns. And the offense we don't know if it's going to be back to normal, but there's a very good chance they are, because that was a scary looking injury. They're not going to be playing Tua, risking his just entire career if he is not ready to go. But it does seem like everything is moving smooth with him. I've also seen him in a lot of leagues as well. He's 44% rostered right now, so out there in 65% of leagues. Definitely go take a peek and see if Tua is out there. One of those guys that can blow up any given week with those weapons. And the last QB bit of news here is Will Levis is out. He was listed as questionable, but officially ruled out for week 7 and potentially longer, an AC joint sprain that he'd been playing through. I think he just stinks as well, but ultimately this gives the team an excuse to bench him for multiple weeks. Mason Rudolph will be coming in, and the offense looked functional when he came in week 4 for about a half the game. So I know I was saying cut Calvin Ridley, he's useless. Why have him on your team? Yes, you could probably still cut the guy and it's not going to kill you, but I am intrigued to at least see what he does with a different quarterback, if this was a truly just pure Will Levis problem, or if what I think it's a mix of both. But they did talk about getting him on screens, doing this. His targets, he had 8 of them, but he didn't get them at the time he wanted. I need to be involved early. I can't stand him. That's the thing, is like it's a bad locker room presence. I don't really enjoy the guy at all. So I'm not saying sprint out bad. Ridley. I drew him in a couple of leagues and where he stayed on the waiver wire, which was pretty much all of them. I went back and scooped him today to see how it goes. Will be the first guy I cut if he yet again flies fat on his face. Alrighty, guys, we are moving to the running back news, but love to see 7 minutes in. 300 of you here have dove in. Thank you again so much. 70 questions in the mailbag. Let's go. A great Sunday morning with the 300 of you here. Again, that thumbs up and that heart button really do help us out. Thank you again so much for being here, guys. Travis Etienne, questionable for week 7 against the Patriots. And so ultimately he got ruled out. So this is the time to decide, do I play Tank Bigsby or not? And that might be a big question for this morning. Only 2.4 points last week, but 25 points the week before. And I do think this game script should be at least a little more favorable to the Jags. I don't see a world where they get blown out by the Patriots. I actually think the Patriots win. I'm taking them with the 5.5 points. It seems like a no-brainer to me. Vegas obviously always knows better. Maybe it's the bias, Pat saying the rose-colored glasses here. I love Drake May this week, though. That's I should have probably tossed this out there. Should you start Drake May? I think you guys can really be considering that one today. If you can start Drake May or not. Top 11 quarterback for me this week, a true quarterback one. I have him ahead of Kyler Murray and different things like that. So we can dive into Drake May a little bit if you guys are wondering about him. Week 7 running back news, though, again, Travis Etienne is out. So I do think Tank Bigsby in a better game flow. He has looked really good with the volume he's gotten. Last week just got away from the team. The Pats defense is better against running backs than the pass, but they're not overly great against anything. So I definitely like getting Bigsby in there. He's a top 25 running back for me this week. Let me know should you have any questions on him. Added to and on the other side of that, Ramondre is off the injury report. He's ready to play on Sunday, and he's been solid in all but one of his games so far this year when he's out there. The Jags are not a good defense at all. I have him right around Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby, Ramondre Stevenson, that running back 25, 26 type of range for these guys. Both are very, very viable starters this week in my eyes. Kenneth Walker, he got added to the injury report with an illness. Usually those ones they play through, but we shall see if it's anything overly serious. Zach Charbonnet would, of course, be a top 20 probably running back, as we've seen whenever he has filled in. Nick Chubb officially activated by the Browns ahead of week 7 matchup against the Bengals. Can you start him? It's a great matchup. Jerome Ford is also out. They have not yet really indicated like what this breakdown is going to be. Stefanski said, we don't really have a set number of plays in mind. You can read that 2 ways. The guy's unlimited. He's no snap count. I don't think that's actually going to be the case. I imagine you get a smattering 10, 20-ish carries. 20 would be ridiculous. I'd say 10 touches is the limit I would see for Nick Chubb on his first game back. But I would not be surprised at all if this guy does a lot of damage with him. He is a beast. He's the heartbeat of this offense. I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns come out a little feisty today. I still think the Bengals win it, but the Browns have had their number at home. So at least minimum, I don't think I'm betting the spread on that one. And I just worry a little bit about the Bengals and how they might come out a little flat as they always do against Cleveland, and Chubb being a part of why that offense is beating today. I still don't play him in fantasy. I would be excited to see what he does, but I'm not playing it. But what about Jordan Mason? He's off the injury report. He is going to play in week 7. Should he be in your lineups? Tricky question because, of course, he's looked great throughout the season, has that AC joint sprain, but going to play through it. He gets also the worst matchup for running backs this week. No team has given up fewer points than the Kansas City Chiefs to the running back position. And I do think they're going to take to the air the 49ers quite a bit in this matchup. I still think Jordan Mason, he's right there at running back 19 for me. Now, I would rather play Kareem Hunt if that helps as a measuring stick. I don't love Jordan Mason. Usually he's a top 7 running back for me, right? But in the fact that he is a little more game flow dependent, he doesn't really catch many passes. Don't know why. He's capable. He can do it. They just don't throw to him at all. It does worry me a bit if this game becomes more of a pass-heavy focus, which I do think is going to be the case for 49ers. Kyle Shanahan, he always likes to get cute in these type of spots. What a game that's going to be, though. Still think Mason should be in the majority of your lineups, but let me know what the question is, where he ranks, because normally it's like, Kenneth Walker versus Mason, or in that range. Not today. I'd rather have Dobbins, for example. I'd rather have Kenneth Walker. Certainly would rather have Brian Robinson, who's playing expected to play, according to Adam Schefter, against the Commanders. What a great matchup for Brian Robinson. He cannot be on any benches, in my opinion. So that's kind of the difference. It gives you a measuring stick in that sense. Like Jordan Mason, probably in your lineup. Not forcing him, though. Brian Robinson, there's really only 8 to 10 running backs I'd bench him for. So I can't imagine. You have 3 of them. Maybe you do. Maybe your running backs are that good. But I am absolutely loving Brian Robinson to smash the Panthers today. The Commanders to just smash them in general. Great spot for running back. Second most points allowed are the Carolina Panthers. He's going to go nuts. So that, I believe, Aaron Jones, we had 2 other notes here. Aaron Jones is expected to play. And whenever he's been out there, he's gotten like an 80-ish. He really started to take over that backfield. Now, I don't expect that to remain the case completely, a complete monopoly like he was starting to carve out, given the injury. But I wouldn't be shocked at all to see him be, again, the backfield focal point. Now, the Lions are a great run D. Plus, you got the risk of a re-injury here. I'd rather have Jordan Mason than Aaron Jones, as we were just talking about him. But he is my running back 23. So there's most lineups, again, will likely with an Aaron Jones question. Let me know if you have it. But I'd rather have him than, one of my favorite sleepers today, Pop Douglas, for example. But I'd rather have Aaron Jones than that. Devon Achane has cleared concussion protocol. He will play in week 7 against the Colts. He's a really tricky one today. I like his explosivity. I like the fact that the Colts are going to have the most big plays in the league, both in the run and pass game. It seems like a Devon Achane script. This team did seem to find their groove here last week. That all being said, though, it still sketches me out. Like, every running back did okay last week other than him. I know he had a concussion, but even before he got hurt, he just hasn't looked great without Tua under center. Still, though, he's so explosive. I'd have a hard time not playing Achane if he is in your lineup here. I have him here at running back 19. So it goes Mason, James Cook, and then Devon Achane there at 19, which I think balances out the risk, the reward. I do have Brian Robinson, a good handful of spots higher than him, though. So let me know if you have any questions on Devon Achane, but most likely you are playing him today if you have him. And then last handful of notes at the running back position is Tajay Spears is out. So Tony Pollard, he's actually a top 5 running back for me this week. The best matchup for running backs, most points given up on the year are the Bills. I think this offense in general will look better with Mason Rudolph as it did in week 4 when he came in for that fill-in duty. So I really, really like him as well. The last question is Tyron Tracy. What do we do with the Giants running backs? Dayball says Tracy will get plenty of time against the Eagles. I imagine Singletary starts. He is expected to play. He's a Dayball favorite. I have both of them on my team. I'm going to play Tracy over Singletary today. I do think the more explosive guy does more with his work. And I do think that Dayball, if this difference, they give a handful of series to both these guys to start the game. And Tracy, if any recent history, I think Dayball's the type of guy that if he sees somebody significantly outplaying the other, he will get that guy going and cooking. So I do like Dayball to feed Tyron Tracy. Feed is an aggressive word, but I'd say about 55% Tracy, 45% Singletary, with Tracy doing a whole lot more work on those touches. And so I'm going to play Tracy over Singletary myself, and I'm keeping Singletary on the bench in most cases. And then Jonathan Taylor is out, as you guys likely know at this point. Trey Sermon is off the injury report, so if you needed a fill-in, I saw him get cut in a lot of leagues, and for deserving reasons, the guy stinks. One of the worst backs. Maybe we even see Tyler Goodson a little bit more involved this week after he's been far more efficient with his work. Wouldn't shock me at all, but ultimately he is out. So we will see a different running back for the Colts. And Rachaad White is back in limited practice, and they talked about a three-headed nightmare, just what every fantasy owner wants to hear. Alrighty, guys, we are moving to the wide receiver position. You'd love to see 500 of you here with us early in this morning. Much less news at receiver and tight end, so we'll be on to all your questions by the 20-minute mark. Let's get it. If you enjoy what you're hearing, the thumbs up button on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course the heart on Twitter really do greatly boost us out to more people and help us grow. So if you appreciate it, that's a free, easy way to support your boy, and I would greatly appreciate it myself. Wide receiver Malik Neighbors is removed from the injury report. He will play. Top 5 wide receiver, averaging 15 targets per game over his last 3 games. The guy's an animal. Absolutely love him. Another rookie is also expected to be going, and that is Marvin Harrison, cleared concussion protocol, expected to play against the Chargers. I know he's been a bit up or down, still right there at a top 20 wide receiver for your consideration. I definitely like playing him for sure. Pause this because we did get our first super chat of the day, Harry Taylor. Thank you so much for supporting your boy here. Full PPR flex. Tyreek Hill, Jordan Mason, or James Conner? Harry Taylor, great question. Great options here. And Tyreek's such an interesting one this week because you think after the bye, they've been getting just so beat up. Does Mike McDaniel actually have any type of a brain in there? Because everybody, this offensive guru, no one can stop this team. And then they've been nothing. And I get it. You lose your quarterback, but we've seen Kevin O'Connell. We've seen these guys weather these quarterback storms and still remain productive, and they've just cratered. So it does make Hill a little bit more nerve-wracking, but ultimately you also get what's tricky is the Colts give up so many big plays. And so it's like if Tyreek was ever going to have a week without Tua, this is the perfect matchup for it. No doubt about it, Harry. So I really do like Tyreek today. I think this could be the week he comes out. But, man, you got some other good options here, too. I like James Conner just fine. I like Jordan Mason okay. Now, to me, I would go Mason over Conner. So this one does come down to Tyreek versus Mason, with Tyreek being, of course, a little bit riskier here. I think, gun to my head, I have to make the choice between those two. I am going Tyreek. I know, again, the 49ers versus the Chiefs, great matchup that unfortunately might not favor Mason because the Chiefs are the number 1 team against running backs so far this year, because I think Kyle Shanahan's going to get cute and want to throw it way more than he might need to. But we shall see. And Mason has been just so locked in, guaranteed 10-plus points every week. Good bet for a touchdown nearly every single week. So man, this is tough. But yeah, Tyreek is such a good matchup today. I just think this is going to be Tyreek kind of returns week, and you're going to have him on your bench. He's going to have 28 points, and it's what was I thinking? So yeah, I'm going to go Tyreek Hill and 90% of these. If you're a heavy favorite, you had Broncos defense on Thursday, and you just want more guaranteed points, yeah, I think you'd probably get that from Jordan Mason. But no real PPR boost, and if somebody on this list is going to just absolutely blow up and win you a week, to me it's Tyreek Hill, and I'd rather have that in my lineup. Harry Taylor, thank you so much for the support, bud. And Anthony Fella, thank you so much for the support, my guy. What's up, Wolfpack? Pick one, Burrow or Baker. 6 points per passing touchdown. Thanks, as always. Cheers. Whew. This is another good one for sure, no doubt, Fella. And I'm against the ECR on this one, but I'm going Baker Mayfield myself. This guy is absolutely real deal. Now, I'll tell you this, Fella. They are both, Baker is my QB6, Burrow is my QB7. They couldn't be closer in the ranks. So if you're feeling Burrow, it's safer. It's Joe Burrow. How do I bench this guy? Totally understand. No doubt about it. But I love Baker Mayfield. I mean, he's been a top 5 quarterback in 4 of 6 weeks this year. He's been a top 3 quarterback in 3 of those 6 as well. Half the time he's been top 3. 30, 20, 10, 29, 23, 29. 29 points or more in 3 of his 6 games. And now he gets a Ravens team giving up the most big plays in the league, a secondary that's just not very good, and a shootout-style narrative because they play fast. They throw early and often, and then now they're finding themselves in shootouts because their defense just is no bueno. So I really like Baker Mayfield actually over Joe Burrow today. I just think that game environment on Monday Night Football has way more of a chance to like open up and boom, now you're off to the races. Baker does have more risk to just completely faceplant and get you like 6. And oh my God, my week's ruined. I should have just got Burrow, got my nice safe 18, and then done with it. But Cleveland, like not a horrible secondary. They've actually had the Bengals number over the last few years. I don't love that one nearly as much. Even again, it's Burrow. He's my QB7. Like they've been absolutely slinging it this year. 35 and 20 in the last 2 games. I get it. Like he's very, very intriguing as well. But I like Baker. I like that game. I think the big plays are going to be erupting on Monday Night Football. So I'm going to go Baker myself, but that's a really, really tough one, Anthony. Best of luck. I hope it goes well for you. Thank you guys so much, Harry and Anthony, kicking off the super chats. It's so greatly appreciated. Goes such a long way. So thank you guys so much. I really, really do appreciate it. Other wide receiver news, some big news this morning was Cooper Kupp listed as questionable, is unlikely to play this week against the Raiders. Why would you need him? You don't have to play Cooper Kupp at this point if you're the Raiders. So ultimately, Jordan Whittington, big bump up into the top 40-ish wide receivers. Tutu Atwell gets a nice bump up as well. If you're looking for a desperation wide receiver streamer, a lot of those guys did get dropped because it was the bye week last week. People were anticipating Kupp to return. I definitely think you can get a Ram receiver into your lineup if you need a plug and play. And as mentioned with Mason Rudolph in, I think Calvin Ridley, I say this and I just want to like slap myself across the face. Calvin Ridley is at least rosterable. I probably won't play the guy. I definitely won't play the guy. But again, they already won. We're saying we need to get him some reverses, some screens, some quick game stuff like that early. I think the guy's a loser. I cannot stand that he's complaining. I need more targets. Gets 8 targets. I need more targets early. I can't stand the dude. He's an absolute tool. And that's why it's, again, like, do I really want to welcome this back to my fantasy locker room? Probably not. But sometimes you got to just grin and bear it. You know how they do it in the NFL. You got to just swallow the diva wide receivers sometimes to eventually get the blowups. And I do think we saw Pickens get fed by Mason Rudolph last year. I could definitely see a situation like that with Calvin Ridley getting fed by Mason Rudolph, it just being more of a Will Levis problem than anything else. So, I think he needs to be rostered. I saw him get dropped in a lot of leagues. I dropped him in a lot of leagues. But ultimately, not a must play and probably wouldn't play him myself. We did get another super chat. Thank you, Lex. Plant some trees. Let's do it. Plant some trees and answer some questions. Mondre, Bucky, Singletary, Pittman, McConkey, running back, and a flex. So we just need one running back and a flex out of here. I'm going to go Ramondre of this group. Whenever he's played, he's been very solid this year. Jags, of course, not a scary matchup. They're better against the run than the pass because they're the worst team against the pass. They're not good against the run. And I do think the Pats, I don't get that spread. I think the Pats are going to win straight up. So I take the money line with them. I don't understand it. But I do think this is going to be a good Ramondre script game either way. I don't see a world where we get blown out. And so they're going to keep him active throughout. Then you got Bucky in like a 3-headed nightmare situation. Sean Tucker looked so great. So I can't go there. Singletary, is Tracy going to outplay him? Probably. So, yeah, I go Ramondre, the clearest starter of this group. Let's plant some trees. For the flex, it's tricky because he doesn't play till Monday and he's questionable. But Ladd McConkey is my clear favorite of this group. Just absolutely cooking when he's out there. If he was on a team that threw it 40 times a game instead of 15, he would be a top 15 wide receiver. He's that good. He's getting wide open. He's like top in average separation score and whatever metric you want to look at. So I really like McConkey. He's cooking. I think this Arizona secondary is garbage. The whole defense is terrible. So yeah, I go McConkey, Ramondre. Of course, you need to have a backup plan if he doesn't play. But the good news, let's plant some trees, is there's 2 Monday night games that you could find a pivot to. You could do Sunday night like Alan Lazard if we got news today that McConkey was going to sit. But Sunday, there's plenty of guys for Monday, again, with those 4 games. So I think Pittman I don't trust with no Joe Flacco. Like I said, I don't trust Singletary or Bucky in those bad committee situations right now. So Ramondre and McConkey for me. Thank you so much for the support. Let's plant some trees. And thank you, Mountain Man, for the support right here. Pick 3. Hubbard, Jay Cook, Connor, Jones, Mixon. Mountain Man, what a stacked running back crew. I am very envious as I sit here deciding between Bucky Irving and Tyron Tracy, which one do I need to patch up my CMC lineup here. You're coming out here just flexing on me. I got to go here, though. Definitely Mixon. Any game he's played, the 2 full games he's made it through, 29 and 30 fantasy points. Looks like an absolute animal. And Green Bay's a good defense overall, very opportunistic, very turnover prone. They're great at fantasy defenses, but they do give up a good amount on the ground to running backs. Love Joe Mixon. Really like Chuba Hubbard with Andy Dalton, 5th in fantasy points in the league right now, 5.8 yards per carry. All the next gen stats look great for this guy too. He's been a cheat code, and the matchup against Washington is nothing scary at all. There's certainly a more generous pass defense you could just throw with ease, but they give up plenty to running backs through the air and just touchdowns in general because they suck. And then so I go Mixon, I go Hubbard. Then it gets trickier. Cook versus Connor versus Jones. I'm going to go James Cook of this group. He seems to be the healthiest. Connor got a little banged up. Aaron Jones is expected to play, but tough matchups across the board. And I just think Cook, we got Ray Davis questionable, so we might get a little bit more featured work here for James Cook. I don't have much to say for any of these 3 guys, though. It is so tricky playing the injury. Who might be at a bigger risk of flaring up? Well, we had Cook rest last week. Seems to be out of these 3 entering like the clear stuff. He was very close to playing last week too. So I'm going to go James Cook. I think he just bleeds a lot of clock there and benefits from that presence of Amari Cooper, maybe getting the box a little less stacked against him. Thank you so much, Mountain Man. Lex Plant Some Trees. Anthony Fellow with the $5. Harry Taylor, you guys are so generous with your super chats. Thank you so much again, guys, for your support. Last handful of wide receiver notes are Deontay Johnson suffered a new injury on Friday, but he's expected to. But he always plays through it, and he usually plays very well through it. So I like Deontay Johnson facing the facing the Washington Commanders. Great game, in my opinion, and I'd like him. He gets fed, 25% first read target share, top 10 wide receiver in fantasy since Andy Dalton took over. I just think it continues this week. Amari Cooper is expected to play. Now, it's a matter of how used to this team, the playbook, how involved does he get? Tennessee's also a great secondary with L'Jarius Sneed, so if I can bench Cooper, I will, but I'm not afraid to play him either because you could also see the grenade from Josh Allen. I think that fit is going to be beautiful in a week or two. I don't think this first week against the Titans is exactly where I'd fire up Amari Cooper, but of course, again, let us know what the questions is. In 49ers news, Deebo Samuel, he is off the injury report. He's going to play against the Chiefs, and he's in your lineup. There's no question about that. But we also did have Ricky Pearsall activated for the first time. Again, if you have bench space to stash somebody, I think Pearsall's legit. Juwan Jennings is out as well, so there's a real chance he's going to step right into the field and get involved. And I really think Pearsall is a prospect. Love the guy. Love the fact that this team loved him enough to put first-round capital on him, even though they were stacked at wide receiver already. So I like Ricky Pearsall a lot as a stash right now if you have some bench trash to clear up. For the Colts, all the receivers that were questionable, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, they're all expected to play, and they're all expected to be on my fantasy bench because I do not trust anybody with Anthony Richardson, who is just god-awful at throwing the ball. So, yeah, I am benching all of those guys where I have them and hoping for Anthony Richardson just to take a big step. Let's plant some trees with this second super chat today. Thank you so much, Lex. Greatly appreciate it. Pittman, Kirk, Harris, sit one. I am sitting Pittman. I don't like I said, I just don't trust any of these Colts weapons with Anthony Richardson. Pittman did not have a top 40 wide receiver day on the year until Joe Flacco came in. I don't trust any of them. And I know Miami, they're not the best defense, but they actually are very generous to running backs and pretty damn good against receivers, specifically outside wide receivers. So I don't like Pittman at all today. So I'm sitting him before I sit Kirk or Harris today. Let's plant some trees. So good timing on that question, right? As we were covering the wide receiver news there on the Colts. Well played. Indeed, Lex. Plant some trees. Last receiver notes here are that Jakobi Meyers is doubtful. Maybe Trey Tucker becomes a sleeper. But we saw last week, he led the team with 95% route share and had 0 points. So not somebody I'm looking to get into my lineup. I got a question from my brother, like Trey Tucker or Tyron Tracy. I'm going Tyron Tracy every single time of the week. But, there is upside. We've seen Trey Tucker have some big games. I'm not going there this week. Wicks is questionable. It really just it matters less. You're not trusting Wicks. I've seen him get dropped, and probably deservedly so. I'm not running this to pick this guy up at this point. But it's more so, does Christian Watson actually become very usable? We know Romeo Doubs is going to get 85% of the routes. At this point, Jaden Reed probably going to get 70% of the routes, probably going to put up 15 to 20 fantasy points and just be a beast on every single touch he gets. It really comes down to, does Christian Watson have that role on lock? And if he does, can you trust him? And I think so, especially if Wicks is out, explosive playmaker. We know Jordan Love is absolutely dealing, and I love that game this week, the Texans versus the Packers over there. I think that could be a really fun shootout style atmosphere. All right, that wraps up our wide receiver news. It does look like we got yet another super chat here from Colin Smith. Thank you guys again so much for your generosity today. Half PPR, Bigsby, Leggett, or Lockett. I'm going to go Bigsby there, Colin Smith. I know last week it leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth, mine included. I'm going back to the well, though, because just 2 weeks ago we had 25 points. We had a much better likely game script here. I don't see a world where they get down so big like they did against the Bears. They stink. I definitely think they could go down, but I don't think they're going to get to the point where they completely script out Bigsby like they did last week. So I'm going to roll with him. It's not a great Patriots run. They're better against the run than the pass, but Bigsby will get his volume. I think we're going to get 15-ish touches for Bigsby. I think he's going to get into the end zone. And yeah, especially if they get a lead early, you could get a huge game out of Bigsby. I do like Leggett and Lockett, especially, the matchups for both those guys are solid. But when it comes down to half PPR, and especially when it comes down to, a running back that's supposed to see 20 touches potentially, I'll always go that way, my man, Colin. Thank you so much for the support. Mark G from the top rope with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mark. What's up, Gonzo? Great to see you, man. Need to flex one option here. Trey Sermon, Christian Watson, or Pat Muth with a puke emoji, and pretty deservedly so. No, that's not that bad. I've seen worse. Don't worry. Not much worse, but there's worse out there. Mark. It's tricky. But to me, if Dontavian Wicks is out, Christian Watson's the easy play here. Then it becomes 80% plus route share for Christian Watson in a game where points are likely going to be needed. I like him in a shootout style narrative. And what I'm trying to decide is, do I go him regardless? Because he did play even with Wicks active. He got knocked out early. It looked like it might be a 50-50 rotation. Then it becomes really, really tough to trust. I don't think it's Pat Freiermuth. I don't like Russell Wilson. I think he's going to get sacked on his ass all game. I cannot stand Russell Wilson. And so I don't want Pat Freiermuth in my lineup at that point. If it was Fields playing, they've had a decent rapport. Okay, maybe. But I'd rather just go for the Hail Mary of Christian Watson than put a second tight end into my lineup if it's Pat Freiermuth today. The other thing is Trey Sermon, and it's like, he's going to get 15 carries, but man, is he bad. He's probably the worst starting running back in the NFL right now. If Wicks is active, though, it's like, I think I'm going to go Christian Watson either way. I don't really want to trust. Sermon got – but the Dolphins are also so bad against the run, third most points to backs. So I would say this. This is how I'd play this one, Gonzo, is if Wicks is ruled out, I go Christian Watson. I don't think twice. If he is in, I probably do pivot to Trey Sermon, hope that he falls that tubby lard into the who am I to call him a tubby lard? But yeah, I would probably go with the running back there and hope he falls into the end zone. So I'm going to go Watson, assuming Wicks is out. Otherwise, I will go for the matchup with Trey Sermon and play him there. All righty, we wrapped up the wide receiver news. Thank you so much, Gonzo, Colin, everybody super chatting. You guys are so generous, so greatly appreciate it. We're going to move on over to the tight ends, but we're approaching that 1,000 viewer mark. We'd love to have your help here. A heart button, a thumbs up button, wherever you're at. That really does go such a long way. Thank you guys so much for spending your Sunday morning here with me. Let's get these lineups perfect. TJ Hockenson is out this week against the Lions, so obviously you can't play him, but still out there in 45% of leagues. I don't get it, but go pick this guy up if he's somehow out there. Go double check. Even in these IR spots, I'm seeing him sometimes out there. Definitely go take a look for him. And then Goddard has been ruled out. I'm seeing, is Calcaterra a streamer at tight end? Maybe in DraftKings, you're 3,300. Okay, you could get the guy in there. But I kind of hope there's better for you out there. Although I did play Juwan Johnson in a 16-teamer. So, who am I to laugh at anybody's tight end woes here? I'd rather have Calcaterra in my lineup today than him. And then Vita Vea is questionable. He's seeming to trend the right way. Definitely big for the run game there if he's out. But Reek Woolen is out for the Falcons is the last news and nuggets that I have. And we're going to get on into your questions, kicking off again with another super chat, though. Thank you so much, Brady. We really, really appreciate it. Pick 2 running backs and 1 flex. James Cook, J.K. Dobbins, James Conner, Tank Bigsby. We got a lot of good options here. Bucky and Raheem Mostert. Also, would you go Ertz over Otten? Thanks, man. Thank you, Brady. Really, really appreciate it. So let's get the tight end one out of the way because that one's easy for me, and I do go Ertz. Otten does get a great matchup, so it's not like locked in. I do have these guys actually 12 and 13, Ertz being my 12. We're seeing the volume for Cade Otten, and they are a great matchup. The Ravens are for the tight end, but Carolina is also a good matchup for tight ends, and we've seen Zach Ertz really play solid for the vast majority of this year. It is tricky though, because they're both kind of those just like gross volume bets. I was gonna say let's get the easy one out of the way. Now I'm sitting here like double checking Ertz versus Otten, the 2 grossest tight ends that just also still get 8 targets a week type of deal here. But I just look at Ertz, it's like 8.6629. That's not bad. But Otten's actually been like very similar as well when you look at what he's been doing here, 6.869 the last few. Man, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to make sure my rankings reflect it. I'm going to go Otten just very slightly over Ertz. Just feels like a little bit bigger of a ceiling. And the Ravens, again, are a great matchup for tight ends. In terms of the running backs, and it looks like 3 running backs you got to pick, essentially, because there's no receivers in this flex conversation. Locking in the first 3, James Cook, Dobbins, and Conner. Bigsby's not too far behind Conner there, but ultimately, I just feel way better about the guys, Cook, Dobbins, and James Conner, who've done it all year. Whereas Bigsby, we've had one big flash, really a disappointing output last week. Bucky in the 3-headed nightmare, not a fan of that. And Mostert, right looked better last week, plus Achane's now back. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see him start to get phased out. So I definitely go James Cook, J.K. Dobbins, James Conner, and then I go Cade Otten over Ertz. Brady, thank you so much for your generous support. And Camsby coming in with a super chat. Thank you guys so much for that. Ramondre Stevenson or Chase Brown, full PPI. I got to keep riding the Chase Brown experience. Some comments coming out this week from Zach Taylor that didn't necessarily say Chase Brown is our guy, but he ultimately said we're going to continue to do what is best for our offense out of the backfield and play the guys that are helping out the team the most. And they could not be more clearly Chase Brown these days with Zach Moss fumbling, just bumbling, and Chase Brown ripping off 30-yard touchdowns and looking phenomenal. So I like Chase Brown. I do like Ramondre today too. I think this is the type of game you want to play Ramondre, but I still do prefer Chase Brown over him. Absolutely. Cleveland just not nearly the scary defense they were last year where you had to sit whoever was facing them type of defense. Thank you again so much for the super chat. Keep riding that hot Chase Brown train. No doubt about it. All right, guys, that brings us to the top of the mailbag. Thank you again so much. Almost at that 1,000 viewer mark again. Would greatly appreciate any thumbs up and heart button, share, like, retweet to help us get out to more people. Just making sure everybody out there does know I will be off at exactly 9:30. So an hour from now, I'll probably set the rapid fire timer at 9:15 here. So I got a nice 45 minutes of just answering questions at our normal pace. If you want to cut the line, by all means, that support is so greatly appreciated. And then we will hit that rapid fire mode. I am a Pats fan, and as you guys probably understand and respect, I do need to go watch my team, especially when we get that early morning game. Get a mimosa, Bloody Mary, something ready to have some fun here with the London game going on. Kronishaw, what's your favorite kind of dessert? I love s'mores. Can't beat a good campfire s'more in the summer. That is my top. Any like some more flavored stuff too is A+. I think it's the best combo that's ever been created. Kronishaw also asking Chase Brown or Watson. Definitely going Chase Brown, as we just raved about. I think this guy is taking over the backfield. Moss or Shakir for your flex. And on the opposite of that, I do not want to play Zach Moss anywhere this week. I'd much rather play Shakir, who I know Amari Cooper's around, but I actually think him drawing L'Jarius Sneed this week, clearing out some space underneath for Khalil Shakir. I think that's going to work phenomenal there for Khalil Shakir. He's just had that pre-established rapport that I don't think is going to disappear. And then we got Achane Mason or Najee. I'm going to go Mason here, just very slightly over Achane. I know Najee is the safest of the bunch, but so ugly, so gross. I don't want Najee in my lineup. He had one really good game. Give me Mason of these ones for sure. Tyreek or MHJ PPR. I'll go Tyreek. This is one where I do think I'd rather just go for the upside, facing, again, that Colts defense giving up so many big plays. I am just a little worried about Marvin Harrison and where he could end up. He's playing, he's active, but I don't know. I don't find a lot of comfort playing him because he has been so boom or bust as well. And the Chargers are good defense too. I'm going to stick. I don't know. I'm trying to see where I have Marvin right now. So Marvin, I got to make sure to add Marvin because he is officially cleared. He's not in my rankings right now for some reason. So we get a live ranking here, Krana, of where I will put Marvin, but I do think it's going to be below Tyreek here. And then flex 2 is Deontay, B-Rob, Todd. Oof, you got some great options here. I would definitely go B-Rob. I'm not sitting him against really any matchup this week. He's facing Carolina, such an amazing spot. And then Dobbins, I love him against Arizona. So I'm going to go with both those guys. I know in full PPR, Deontay, so much of a boost and such a beast. I love Deontay. Don't get me wrong. But ultimately, he's got all these little injuries going on. How many times have we seen Deontay mid-game take a hit? He's off in the blue medical tent. It just seems like one of those annoying situations. Love the matchup. Love the PPR upside of Deontay. But I don't love him in that type of setup. When I've got Brian Robinson and Dobbins, two guys that are going to get 20 carries in great matchups, I'm going to ride that train for sure. We did get yet another super chat. You guys are so generous. Thank you so much today. Triple Hunts coming on in with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. BTJ, Chase Brown, Juju, or Worthy in the flex. So this one to me comes down to BTJ versus Chase Brown. Oh, that's a really, really tough call. I'm such a huge Brian Thomas Jr. fan. And yet I just love riding Chase Brown right now. The big play after big play, it happens nearly every week. And it's only one game, but with Evan Ingram fully healthy last week, with Thomas really, it's just the consistent, those easy layup targets kind of got eliminated. So now you're dependent on that big play happening from Trevor Lawrence. I just don't like Trevor Lawrence that much either. I think he's the most overrated quarterback in the league. It's tough. Again, those are the two I'm going to limit this choice to. For your triple hunts, I would go Chase Brown myself, especially in a non-PPR. Not that like BTJ, he's not really the guy that's benefiting from the dink and dunk anyways, but I still think you play for the touchdowns, and Chase Brown has just been a machine lately. So I'm gonna roll Chase Brown out of that one, triple hunts. Get a very tough one. Thank you so much for the support. Would you start Tutu or Whittington full PPR? And that's another one where, again, the scoring does play a big factor. With Cooper Kupp likely out, it's going to be Jordan Whittington for me too. You've seen the way they've got him running into the backfield and then up the A gap and boom, they dink and dunk. And he's become that kind of layup target for Matthew Stafford, for Sean McVay. He's become that go-to outlet. And he's great at it. He's no Cooper Kupp or Puka Nakua, but he's kind of showing it's really a lot of scheme and less about talent for a lot of these guys too. And Whittington is in that layup role where he's going to get probably 10 targets, probably 8 catches, maybe a touchdown as well. So full PPR, yeah, give it to Whittington. Let him have a day. Tutu's been great as well. Another great fill-in if you're desperate for a receiver. But yeah, I'm definitely going with Jordan Whittington of those options. Thank you so much, Triple Hunts, for the super chat. So Chase Brown and Whittington are how we're going to play that one today. Back to your questions, guys. Thank you again so much for your generosity, for your super chats. It is so greatly appreciated. We left off with Shakir, Worthy, Leggett, or Watson. I'm going to go Shakir and Worthy of those two. Chronoshot, JSN or Lazard. I'm going to go JSN, and I'm going to go Dell and Flowers, definitely over Pickens. Come on, you don't need to ask that one. That's a joke, Chrono. Which defense only choices I got are Texans, Seahawks, Commanders, Colts. I'm going to go Colts for sure in that one. Chronoshot, the Dolphins have been a joke of an offense without Tua. Stroud, Goff, or Stafford in 6-point pass touchdowns. Definitely not Stafford. I like Goff today. I think that game shoots out. Now I'll go Stroud though, because that game could definitely shoot out too, the Packers and Texans game. So I have a laundry list today as I set up potential Kamara. Didn't do his job. I have Jay Gibbs at running back with Chubb on the bench, Reed and Kupp as my wide receiver 1 and 2. Well, Kupp's not going to play, so I think you got to go Garrett So, yeah, I actually don't know what you're saying, Joel. I'm sorry. This is very tough to follow. Gibbs, Chubb, Kupp, Reed, Garrett. Who's the man? Put PPR, one, need flex. Joel, I have no idea what you're asking. I'm sorry, but this one just doesn't make any sense to me. It sounds like you need to bench one of these guys, and Kupp's not playing, so he's the one I bench there because Kupp is out today. But honestly, dude, I have no idea what you're asking. I'm sorry. We do have another super chat. Thank you guys so much. Coyote Guy, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Coyote Guy, PPR, Watson or Leggett. I lean Watson here, especially if Wicks is removed. But even if not, he seems to be the clear guy at this point over Wicks. And I love that game. They're going to need a spark. I mean, you do get some really nice matchups here for Leggett. In full PPR, he does have a little bit more upside to rack up those easy targets. You know, he gets the layups after Deontay Johnson in that offense. But I just still think Watson's definitely a better bet to score, to get deep, have some big plays erupt for you. We just know the ceiling is so high, and Jordan Love is playing at such a high level. So of those guys, Coyote Guy, I do lean with Christian Watson over Leggett. It's a lock if Wicks sits, but I still think even with Wicks in there, I would go Watson there. Hen Dog, what's going on, brother? Up and at him for a long slate today. Let's go. Who's hungry? Your boy is. Let's do it. Need two receivers, two flex from Garrett, Cooper, Juju, Watson, Tyreek. Thanks again, and keep hitting the likes and subscribes. Indeed, keep hitting that thumbs up, that heart. So greatly appreciated. And, of course, we'd love to have any new people out there subscribe to the channel and keep boosting us up as we climb towards 5K for the season. Thank you, Hemdog. I'm going to go – you got to go Garrett Wilson. Cooper it's probably Amari Cooper, not Cooper Kupp. So I'm going to go of these. We need essentially 4 wide receivers, so we're benching one of them. And I'm definitely locking in Garrett, Tyreek. I think – I'm going to go bench Watson of this group. I like Juju and Cooper. I'd rather have the number one for Josh Allen potentially. Maybe they scheme up a couple deep shots to this guy. So I'm going to go Christian Watson on the bench of these 4 wide receivers. Again, I love the matchup for Tyreek. I know it's been painful, but nobody's given up more big plays than the Colts against the Dolphins today. Such a good spot. You got to think out of the bye. Here we go. Let's get our sliding back here. And if you look at their schedule, the Dolphins have some jokes coming up. So they really could just pull a 5-game win streak, and they're facing the Bills in a few weeks, and they could suddenly be battling for the number one in that division. So, yeah, I like Tyreek, getting him involved early. Watson. I'm benching Christian Watson of that group. Brady coming in with another super chat. Thank you so much, Brady. Very generous of you today. JSN or James Conner. PPR, and then Kyler or Darnold 6-point touchdowns. Definitely going Darnold. I think he's so safe. Love that matchup. Lions, Vikings, tons of points projected for both teams here. And Darnold's been absolutely cooking. And the thing with Darnold is he has like 20 points in the first half, and then they take the foot off the gas because they're just destroying teams. That's not going to happen against the Lions. And so I think we could get the best game we've seen yet out of Darnold today. So I love Sam Darnold over Kyler. In terms of JSN or James Conner, I'm going to go James Conner. I don't trust JSN. Like he's gets the targets, he gets some volume, and it just doesn't ever amount to much. When you look at the production on the year, 50 yards, he's had 30 yards or lesser in half of his games. He's got one really good game, and then the rest is like, I guess in PPR it's a little different. So I'll check it in half scoring, but you look 13, 13, 10, like it's okay. It's serviceable. I get why you're asking because he gets a lot of that dink and dunk PPR cheat code type of stuff. But really, again, only one great game. Connor's been rock solid all year. So I'm gonna ride him out, Brady, and I'm gonna go James Conner, and I'm gonna go Sam Darnold. Thank you guys so generous today with your super chats, including right now, Stephen Coldwell. Thank you, brother. Need 2 full PPR league. Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, Juju. I like Juju a lot today. Coming off a 7-catch, 130-yard day, but if I'm in a position where I can wait and see what he does, I'd like to wait and see what he does. One big blow-up game does not make a season. Was awesome. Looked like he's going to be – I keep calling him Diet Rashee Rice, like in that layup. Let's find the soft spot. Let's sit here. Boom. And it's just one of those things where the receiver, quarterback, they need to have the chemistry. They need to understand. And those two, Mahomes and Juju, they played together before. Juju's had 900 yards, and 78 catches with Mahomes before. So I don't think it's a fluke. I really do believe in Juju. But if I have Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs, like I have two guys I'm ready to roll with and see what happens with Juju. I think Jacobs is the clear lock here. Stephen Caldwell. I would say Aaron Jones is trickier, but Jones. I'm still going to go Aaron Jones and Jacobs and ride the two running backs there. It does get close between Jones and Juju, though. So let me know if you are struggling with that. But, yeah, give me Jacobs, give me Aaron Jones as where I would go. Bigsby or James Cook. I know he teams out, and I still think I'm going to go James Cook here. Just the better player. I do like Bigsby setup. I think the game flow is going to be better for him. But ultimately, I'm going to go James Cook. I just think much better talent. He's been a beast, 16 points or more, James Cook, in every game but one that he's played this year. I really, really just like the player. So I'm going to go with James Cook there over Bigsby, even with Etienne out. Thank you again, guys, for those super chats. So greatly appreciated. We're approaching the 1,000 viewer mark. Would love to cross that threshold. And a great way, an easy way to help us out is quickly typing that thumbs up button, atone for your sins, and get that on in here. Thank you guys so much. Eric Buckman, pick 2 running backs. Jacobs, Stevenson, Dobbins. I'm starting May. I'm benching Stevenson there. I like Stevenson today, as I've said on a bunch of these, but Dobbins, Jacobs, lock them on in. Especially Dobbins taking over that backfield. 25 carries, 80% of snaps last week. Gets Arizona. I'm in love with Dobbins this week. Let's go. Hi, Manuel. How's it going? Mason or Stevenson? I'm going to go Jordan Mason over Stevenson today, Mr. Manuel. Smash the like, everyone. Subscribe. And thank you so much, Hemdon, for reminding people to do the Lord's work out there. King Retros. Good morning. Happy PR. McLaurin, Devonta Smith, Metcalf, Mike Evans, pick 2. Wow, you got some great receivers here, King Metros. I am going to go Mike Evans. He's locked in at this point. He's going to play, was the latest report. So I cannot bench him against a Ravens team giving up the second most big plays to wide receivers on the year of 10-plus yard catches and 20-plus yard catches. Mike Evans' specialty. I think he gets rolling on Monday night. And then I got to go, this gets tough. But I like Terry McLaurin. Carolina, just garbage. We know that. And he has been absolutely lights out alongside Jane Daniels. Those first couple of weeks were a little bit sketchy for Terry, but in half PPR, these last 5 have been phenomenal. 18, 15, 11, 20. Like, love to see it. Rock solid, 8+ targets in nearly all of those. Big fan. So I'm going Evans, and I'm going McLaurin. DK, I'm a little lower on this week than the ECR. I have him at 16. He's the next closest for me. A lot of people might say to go DK over those guys. I feel like it's just so congested there. Whereas I can see the clearer path from McLaurin and Evans to huge games. Tien Nguyen, thank you, Tien Nguyen, for being here, as you always are. Great fan. Flex, Goodson or Downs? I think if I'm getting to that level, I know I said I don't want to play any of these receivers for the Colts, but I'd play Downs. He's just so talented, and he's a quarterback's best friend if the quarterback can just throw the short and intermediate game. We know that Richardson can't, but I still think that he is the preferred play there. Give me Josh Downs. It's Goodson. I don't know. The running back 2 behind Trace Urban. I don't know about that. King Retros, half PPR. Pollard, Hubbard, or Dobbins, pick 2. We are going to go with Pollard for sure, top 5 running back from this week, and Hubbard. Wow, you got some great running backs there. I was just saying how much I love Dobbins this week as the featured back in this run-heavy Greg Roman scheme in a great match against Arizona. Like, everything there is there to love, but you're talking about 3 top 12 running backs for me and 2 of them in my top 5. So, yeah, I'm going Pollard and I'm going Hubbard. Yeah, man, that's tough, though. That is very tough. But, yeah, I'm rolling with it. Luis Perez, thank you so much for the super chat, Lewis. Hunter Henry or Colby Parkinson now that Kupp is out? Kupp's been out, and what has Parkinson done for you? He's out there for 80% of the routes and always 90% of the snaps. Good blocker, good outlet guy. And he's so far 2, 4, 5, 9. Last week, I guess he had an okay day for you in half PPR. But again, I just look at him as fool's gold. He does nothing. Whereas Hunter Henry, probably the bigger risk to just get you completely zero. I got my 4 from Colby Parkinson, but at least we've seen some upside for Hunter Henry. And I'm actually quite higher on Hunter Henry. I'm +3 ECR. I have him as my tight end 11. We've got a 15 and a 12-point day on the resume, both higher than anything we've seen from Colby Parkinson all year. And so, sure, the floor is a little lower in the Patriots offense, but I love what I saw from Drake May. I think they're going to move the ball up and down on the Jaguars today. So I like Hunter Henry. I think the matchup is right. I think he is a solid player and just was getting held back more so from Brissett. So now that Drake May is in, I'm very excited for all these weapons. Pop Douglas, Hunter Henry. I love playing them all. So, yeah, give me Hunter Henry over Parkinson. He's my favorite tight end streamer of the week is Hunter Henry for sure. Thank you again so much for the super chats. Lewis, Emetka, Steven, all you guys, Brady, multiple super chats, Coyote Guy. You guys are so generous today. Mark Gonzo, my man. I really, really appreciate you helping keep the lights on over here at Roto Street Journal. Coming in from Twitter is J. Gregory Carroll asking Jamison Williams or Ladd McConkey, even in full, and I know full would seem to benefit Ladd. I love JMO this week and really every week, but especially against Minnesota, giving up the most points to wide receivers. Think that game is going to shoot out. And a stat I heard this week that has me super high on JMO is against the blitz this year. They ultimately last year, it was like the Amon-Ra show against the blitz. 32% targets on blitzes, 5 yards per route run. Like the guy was going nuts. But this year, it's dead even. 23% go to Amon-Ra, but 23% are going to JMO. They're designing a ton of like leak out blitz, like get behind the defense on this blitz. And he's going bananas. He's well over 4 yards per route run against the blitz, 23% target share against the blitz. The guy is going crazy. And we know that Vikings under Brian Flores, they're going to be firing blitz after blitz after blitz. So I think JMO is in a spot to break at least one big one, if not two. So I definitely am going JMO there. Mr. Campanelli asking Bigsby, Chase Brown, Braylon Allen, Bucky Irving. We need one for the flex. To me, this one really only comes down to Chase Brown versus Tank Bigsby. The other two are just more so handcuffs, especially it stinks for Bucky, as good as he is, to now be in a three-headed nightmare, not just in a timeshare with Rashad White, but Sean Tucker forcing his way in there. And then Braylon Allen, it is very, very clear that the new staff prefers riding one guy, and that was Breece Hall, at least for one game, but pretty telling sign to me. I am going to go at this point Chase Brown, though. I'm just going to keep riding that gravy train. He has been a beast. He's continued to go up to 45% of carries, then 55%, then 60%, just continuing to elevate. He's got 22, 15, and 13 across his last 3 games, and he's really just taken over that backfield, scored a touchdown in 3 straight weeks. I love Chase Brown right now. So I'm going with him over Bigsby, just very slightly there. Chase Brown, Bigsby, and Connor, who sits for Todd Culver. I sit Bigsby out of that one. I rank these guys all very close. Chase Brown 20, James Conner 21, and Tank Bigsby 24. But Bigsby is the sketchiest of this group, in my opinion. I know ETN, he could go off, but I think the other two are just more upside, better plays. I'm going to go bench and Bigsby of those 3. Todd Culver, Manuel, running back 2, Robinson, flex Mason, or Stevenson. Alrighty, so I'm going to go Mason over Stevenson is how I read that one for sure. I'm definitely going to go Mason. BTJ, Debo, or Mooney, PPR. I got to go Debo. PM Chunk. I always go Debo. Anybody who's watched this knows that Debo is one of my favorite players. And fantasy-wise, he's just a man too. I'm no way I mentioned Debo in a big game where they're going to need to lean on him today, PM Chunk. For my man, King Retros, pick 2. Half PPR. Pollard, Dobbins, or Hubbard. I think you already asked this one, and I said I'm benching Dobbins. You're running backs. You have Henry in that group too. Whew, King Retros. That is crazy right there. My man Campanelli doing the Lord's work and reminding the commenters out there to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel that I go live 3 times a week for waiver wires on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday sit starts. Let's hit that 5K, baby. So greatly appreciate your support here every Sunday morning, guys. And thank you, Campanelli, for reminding the good folks out there for doing the good old moderator's job out there. Morning Wolf. What's up, Jordan? Or LBJ. He's got Jordan Mason or Jamison Williams. Yeah, and this is one where I would go JMO. That's how high I am on JMO today. I would absolutely get him into the lineup here over Jordan Mason myself. So, yeah, that's what I roll with. Sports Guru. I have to bench one. Tank, Achane, Jacobs, Deontay, or Higgins. I would bench – that's a really tough call. I would bench Tank, though, over Achane. It's, again, a Colts defense that has very much struggled giving up big plays. I think Achane could be right there with some explosives this morning. Good morning, Michael Lopez. What's going on, brother? Montgomery or BTJ? I'm playing David Montgomery. I cannot bench that man. Absolute touchdown machine. I don't think he scored less than 14 points in a single game this year. No, he hasn't. In half PPR, 16, 15, 20, 15, and 21. Not benching that. Sorry, Bays. That I know BTJ has that huge ceiling, but I'd much rather take that safe floor of Montgomery today. Evan Gittleman got offered Mike Evans and Zach Moss, and I give up Chubb, J-Mo, and Adunze. Is this a good deal? I think so. I mean, the thing is Moss is putrid. He's useless. So it comes down like, do you want Mike Evans for these three guys? I think Adunze is also kind of useless. So Chubb and J-Mo for Evans, I'd probably do that deal. It's risky. Like, Chubb could be a beast. It looks like he has the backfield there for the taking, but it's a horrible offense. J-Mo I really, really love. But, yeah, I'd probably rather have Evans than Chubb and J-Mo. So I think so, but I don't feel amazing about it. I don't feel good starting Judy in the flex. Why would you? It's Deshaun Watson playing quarterback. Of course you don't. Ertz when I fart. I love the name, by the way. Ertz when I fart. That's a great one. Tyler Eifert. Nice toss out there. Ertz when I fart. Dobbs, Watson, Algier, Tyrone Tracy, McLeod, Lazard, Trey Sermon are other options. What do you ride with in half PPR? Thanks, Ertz. Again, Ertz, I'd love to see you. That name is phenomenal. I hope you come to more shows. You and all these, a lot of new names here. Again, would love you guys to sub and join multiple streams a week with us. That'd be incredible. I think I go – I certainly don't play Judy over a lot of these guys. So I think your leaning is right here. Ertz when I hurt. I can't say it without laughing. I think I'd probably go Tyrone Tracy. It's like him or – I keep coming to him or Dobbs. You know, Watson, a little risky with Wicks and the big play guy, the highest ceiling guy. But at least you know Dobbs is going to be out there for nearly every snap. And the Texans have a bunch of defensive injuries in the secondary, just all over the board. So I feel like Dobbs is probably the safest. But I also love Tyrone Tracy. I love what he's shown. And it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up kind of taking the backfield over a bit more here. So I personally think I go Dobbs. Very tough, though. Very tough call. To me, though, I would limit it down to Dobbs, Tracy, and Algier is the other one that kind of popped up to me here, given the way he's been getting a ton of volume. But I do lean – yeah, how do you bench Tracy? Singletary's back. Yeah, I'm going to go Dobbs, but I don't feel great about it. I would, again, say whoever your favorite is of Dobbs, Tyrone Tracy, and Algier is what I would do, but that's how I rank them, Dobbs, Tracy, and Algier. Thank you so much, Senor Rojo, coming in with a super chat here. Although, did I miss – I think I missed you, Brendan Lopez. Sorry about that. You go first. Thank you so much for the super chat. Did not mean to miss you there, Brendan. My bad. Pick one PPR flex. Juju, Chase Brown, or Najee Harris. I'm going to keep going Chase Brown. The last couple of weeks, we keep getting questions on him, and I get it. Doesn't feel super secure, but every single week, the role has gone up for Chase Brown in terms of snaps, in terms of route share, all that good stuff. And we've seen, again, 20, 22, 15, 13, top 20 running back, 3 straight weeks. I'm just going to keep riding the train. He's becoming the more focal point of this backfield. Clearly brings more to the table than Zach Moss outside of maybe pass protection. And Moss had a costly fumble, and we didn't really see much of him after that. So yeah, I like all these options here, Brendan, but I really like Chase Brown the most. Juju, again, we've talked about a bit on the show today. Like him a lot. I do not think it was a fluke. 8 targets, 7 catches, 130. Became that diet Rashee Rice. But another one that's like, okay, I'd love to see that one again before I have to use him if I can. Chase Brown's a good reason. And then Najee Harris coming off his best game of the year. I get why it doesn't feel great to bench him. I have him, only 2 spots below Chase Brown here. But most of the year he's been averaging like under 2 yards a pop. Like, disgusting. And the Jets, certainly better against receivers than running backs, but not a defense that's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to start my guys against the Jets ever. So Najee, like the safest guy here, but I just think last week's the ceiling. Great team preyed upon a bad Raiders team. I'm going to go Chase Brown there. Senor Rojo, with Kupp out, need 1 receiver, 1 flex. Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman, Ricky Pearsall, Kamani Vidal, Jalen Wright, and Braylon. Whew. This is a tough one, Senor Rojo, because you're doing what I love to do with my bench, and that is load up on upside, like if a handcuff contingency type upside between Vidal, Wright, and Braylon. But like none of those guys are really easy to trust in fantasy here. So to me, Xavier Worthy's the clear-cut wide receiver play. I don't know that I like Keon Coleman. It's a great Tennessee secondary. You got Amari Cooper stepping in here. Ricky, then you got Khalil Shakir. Kind of clear things out. They felt great about Keon Coleman. I don't think they go out there and get Cooper. Yeah, they saw a guy that they could get at the right price, so sure. But then I'm like, okay, so who do you start instead? You can't trust Pearsall his first game here. Who knows how much he plays, if at all. Vidal only played 15% of the snaps last week. Looked really good. Liked what I saw. But now you got Achane back. Do we even see Wright sniff the field? Is he even going to be active? Braylon Allen only, got 3 touches last week behind 23 for Breece Hall. Became a clear-cut back. So out of these guys, I'm probably going Worthy and Keon. But I would toss out there, like, is Demario Douglas on the waiver wire that you could just plug into your lineup right here this morning? Is Jordan Whittington in there as like kind of the natural Cooper Kupp handcuff almost in a way? Could you sneak him on into the lineup? Or either the Packers, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson available to you. Those are all some guys. Wandale, he's probably not out there for you. Juju Smith-Schuster for sure, if he's out there somehow. Just trying to toss a few options out you, Senor Rojo. I'll have if Campanelli, if you see anything out there from Rojo, if he comments in like, do any of these waiver wire receivers, are they, if any of them are out there? Because, yeah, I think Worthy's a fine start today for sure. Upside, San Fran needs it. I really don't like starting any of the other guys you have. So I'd be looking to see, maybe even Trey Tucker if he's out there. But I would first look, again, to Demario Douglas, to Juju Smith-Schuster, to Jordan Whittington. Those would be like my top 3 streamers. I think even Noah Brown, but like I don't want to play a lot of these guys that you're tossing out here, Senor Rojo. So let me know, and my man Campanelli will keep his eyes out for you, Senor, if you have any of those guys out there. But again, I do want to emphasize, too, before I move to Killer Wolf Kills. I love the name. I love what you're doing with the bench. Vidal, Wright, Braylon, like you're stacking the guys that would be, we're blowing all our money because the starter went down type of guys. I love that play. I think it's great. But you might have to cut one of them to get a little playable depth here with Kupp now out. Killer Wolf Kills. Michael Wilson or Michael Pittman Jr., the battle of the Michaels that I don't really want to play this week. I lean here. I think I'm going Wilson, but you got Marvin Harrison back. Again, another one where I'd toss out like Whittington. Is he out there? Obviously, Demario Douglas or Juju, either of those guys out there. I'd play any of them well ahead of either of these guys. But if I had to pick only one of these two, I'd probably go with Pittman. Just the better talent, the better bet to maybe find the end zone. I know most of the production has come with Anthony Richardson. With Joe Flacco. But in that Pittsburgh game before Flacco took over, we had Pittman cooking with Anthony Richardson. So I don't think he's dead by any means. It's really been Josh Downs who hasn't had any type of production. So I don't mind taking Pittman today. I definitely would have him over Wilson. But again, some of those other receivers to toss out there for you to look at. And then we got Waddle or Worthy. Another one, whereas I do trust Tyreek a little bit today, I think you can get a little more design for him. And he could maybe capitalize on the big play vulnerability of this Colts defense. I just don't know if I feel the same for Waddle. He's been the distant second, even with Tua out. And is there really going to be 2 mouths fed here by Tyler Huntley? So I don't trust Waddle at all. I'd rather go with Worthy myself, Manny 69, and hope that they just fun game coming up, right? Against Chiefs, Niners, Super Bowl rematch, shootout. How's that not flex to Sunday Night Football? I don't know. We get the Jets and the Steelers instead. Yay. But no, I would go Worthy for sure. I think that game shoots out, and I trust that one a lot more. Thank you again so much, guys, for that super chat. I just need to water it down real quick. But you guys are the best. Nearly 1,200 of you here with us live. Another call out for that thumbs up button would be so greatly appreciated, Wolfpack. I'm going to keep rolling here for about 15 minutes until the rapid fire. But as mentioned, it is going to be a hard shot off at 9:30. My Patriots are playing, and I got to go watch them, as any good fan would understand. So I will be doing a rapid fire in about 12 minutes here. Until then, it's on to all of your questions. Of course, if you want to cut the line, you can super chat your boy. It greatly supports us. It keeps the lights on, as Logan Tillman just did. Thank you so much, Logan. Pick 2, full PPR, Juju, BTJ, or Bigsby. Whew, pretty good one here, Logan. It's gross to say, but I think I'd go both Jags here. I like Bigsby to get 20-ish plus touches, and he looked really good just 2 weeks ago. 25 points, NFL leader in yards per carry. If I told you 2 weeks ago Bigsby's going to be the featured back, there's no Etienne, you'd be all right. He's like a top 15 running back, right? I know last week was a dud. I know this offense can dud out for sure, but I think against the Pats, there's a far less risk of them getting the doors blown off and then having him completely game flowed out. That's just not going to happen to Bigsby today. And then BTJ, it's so tough because the first game Ingram comes back, he just kind of disappears. And I don't think it's like causation. It's 100% Ingram, and now BTJ is unusable. Not at all. I think he's a big play guy. I think he is so talented. He's a top 23 receiver for me. I do have Juju just 5 spots away at wide receiver 28. So if you're kind of like, I don't want too many Jags in my lineup, I totally understand that sentiment. But I also look at BTJ, just 2 weeks ago, 19, 21. He started to really cook. And he did still get 6 targets last week. It just didn't convert on it. He had a touchdown go right off his hands. So I really do like BTJ still. I think he's the play. I just look at it. I'm like, do I really bench this young, exciting, phenomenal talent with a great production already right out the gates for Juju? I love what I saw from Juju. I do not think it's a fluke. I've said that multiple times on this stream. Diet Rashee Rice, 7 for 130, getting the layup looks, finding the soft spots in the zones like Mahomes' boy. I think it's real, but I want to see it again if I can. And BTJ, Bigsby, both in great spots today. So, yeah, I lean BTJ, Bigsby there. So a lot of Jags. I can see why you'd be hesitant. It's not horrible to bench one of those two for Juju. But, yeah, I do lean ultimately going with the Jags guys there in great spots. All righty. We left off with, I think it was Adrian here. Do I start? So Kupp's not going to play. I would go Chase Brown over Bigsby myself, Adrian. Feel like I'm selling high on names and get back a lot of value with Mike Evans. Yeah, it kind of, I see what you're saying, Evan. I think you're kind of pulling that off. And like I said, I like Mike Evans the most of the deal. So I think you pull the trigger, especially if you have good depth behind those guys. Start 2 PPR, Walker, Chase Brown, Tank, or Achane. I don't know if it's Tank Dell or Tank Bigsby. It does seem like it's all running back, so I'm going to pretend like it's Bigsby here. I would go Walker. There's literally no doubt in my mind about Walker ever. I put him a good 10 spots above anybody else on this list. And then for me, I'm going to go Achane just slightly ahead of Chase Brown. Love Chase Brown this week. And I like Tank. They're all good plays here, but I would go Walker and Achane. The big plays the Colts give up to backs and to receivers is just really nice setup for an explosive talent like Achane. For PPR, the flex. Would you go Christian Watson, Worthy, or Waddle? Thank you. I think I would go Worthy there, Glenn. All big play threats. Give me the one that's going to play 85% plus snaps with Mahomes here. Watson I like, but just so risky. Who knows how many snaps he's going to play with Wicks in or out. We don't even know yet what his status will be, Need 2 out of the 4. Tyron, Tracy, Mostert, Warren, Goodson. It's got to be Tracy and Mostert. I don't love it, but I certainly don't like Warren and Goodson, the figure report. I mean, Goodson, maybe I'm discounting a little bit. We know there's no Jonathan Taylor. We know he's been way more efficient than Trey Sermon. They've just been hesitant to give him anything over Trey Sermon. He's been okay, 7 and 9 points the last couple weeks. Maybe I'm discounting him too fast. But I don't know. I don't like it. And a lot of those were dump offs from Joe Flacco, who Anthony Richardson does not throw the running backs at all. I think Goodson's just going to do nothing. Whereas Tracy, too talented to bench right now, and these are your other options. And Mostert, a good bet for a touchdown against a really bad Colts run D. So that's where I go figure report. Tracy and Mostert. My man DiLorenzo, what's going on? Need Najee, Juju, Watson, half PPR, needs 2. I would be benching Watson in this case. I'd ride, it's unsexy, but I'd ride the unsexy, more predictable volume of Najee and Juju. Despite the blow-up upside of Watson, yeah, I got to bench him for those two. Trade Mostert for Etienne and Brian Martinez. Swap a wet wipe for a piece of toilet paper and wipe yourself with one. I don't know. Neither one of these guys is great. The one thing I've seen is like Etienne gets moved, but I'd rather have Mostert, honestly. Just I said Etienne's going to be one of the biggest busts of the year. It's been playing out that way. And at least like Mostert, there's the now, okay, Tua comes back. Now he's fully healthy. The guy had 18 touchdowns last year. Maybe the second half of the year, he becomes that goal line hammer again and gets you multiple touchdowns. So I think I'd rather have Mostert, honestly, the rest of the year. So yeah, I'm leaning that way myself. Alrighty, we had a couple more super chats come on in. Thank you, Killer Wolf Kills again. Okay, now since Kupp is out, Michael Pittman Jr. or Tutu and Whittington. Oh man, Killer Wolf Kills. That's a pretty good one. I think. I wish. Can you just comment in real quick, Killer Wolf, while I analyze it? Is this full PPR or half? I'm double checking your earlier comment here. You asked Wilson or Pittman. And if it's full PPR, Whittington's easy. Like he's going to get a layup looks. He's probably going to have 8 catches. And that really does close the gap. I do want to emphasize, like MPJ did have some really decent production before Richardson got hurt in that Pittsburgh game. Like they were starting to cook. But Miami is much more vulnerable to the run game than they are the pass. So that kind of makes things a little tough there. I would probably lean Whittington over Michael Pittman Jr. Certainly in full. In half PPR, it does get very, very close. But, I mean, I keep clinging to that. Like, what we saw him, Michael Pittman, really starting to produce with Anthony Richardson that from 1 week. And I don't want to just completely give up on it. But Whittington has just been so money these last few weeks without Cooper Kupp. Really, really evolving into that kind of clear-cut handcuff, get the layup rolls in a Sean McVay offense. And I love it. Like, I think it's tough to bench at this point. Yeah, 8 and 10 targets the past 2 weeks, 6 and 7 catches. You know, you're talking full PPR. This guy's gotten you 12 and 16 and half, 9 and 12. I'll probably just go with that nice, safe volume right there is what I'm looking at. Killer Kills Wolf. Tank or Lad, Vikings or Chargers? I would go Tank over Lad. Whether it's Dell or Bigsby, I prefer Dell if it's him. But if not, I still would go Tank Bigsby over Lad. He's questionable. Probably going to play, but if they can run the ball 70 times, they will. And they very well could against the pathetic Cardinals run defense. Then Vikings or Chargers, kind of that classic. Do you go with the talent or do you go with the matchup? I'll go with the talent here. I'll go Vikings and just hope they get home a few times there against the Lions. And because it's not like the Chargers are a great defense, and it's not like it's a great matchup for them. It's different if it's Chargers against the hapless like Saints or something, but not the Cardinals aren't a great matchup. So yeah, give me Vikings. I'll bet on talent in that case. X high 1. Thank you so much for the support. And Frizzil, thank you so much for your support as well. Can I still start May over Murray if there's rain? Unless it's a downpour and wind is everywhere and it's a massive shower. Yeah, I think you absolutely could still start May over Murray. I mean, it's risky, but Murray has not been nearly the fantasy QB that we kind of might have all expected after that first week 1 explosion. The guy has been relatively quiet, Kyler Murray has. So ultimately, 16, 10, 25, 12. So one really good game, and otherwise QB 17 or worse. And then Drake May comes in and walks right into a top 10 quarterback performance, 22 points last week. We see the mobility, 5 carries for 38 yards. We see the cannon arm, gets 3 total touchdowns on the day, and now gets the single best matchup you can possibly ask for a quarterback against Jacksonville. I'm riding the May train. He's my QB 11. I'm all aboard the Express. Choo-choo. Let him rip. Drake May for sure today for me. A little rain. Again, I'm not watching the pregame. If it's like a downpour, disgusting, and they're running through mud all day, okay. But a little rain, nothing to worry about. Angel Barros, half PPR, Douglas, Mostert, or Tracy. I actually do really like on all that Drake May talk, someone's going to have to catch the ball and perform for him. And I love Demario Douglas today. 9 targets in 3 of his last 4 games. The guy's been cooking. And his first game with Drake May was beautiful. He only played 67% of the routes and was targeted on well over 30% of those. So I think that role continues to grow. They talked about how he's like really the only one they trust right now in the wide receiver department. So yeah, I like Demario Douglas. I'm going to let him roll today of that group. Thank you again so much for these super chats. It is 9:13, and I am just going to kind of fire up the rapid fire at this point. We're 2 minutes away from it, and ultimately I want to make sure I get to as many of these as I possibly can. Although before we can fire up the rapid fire, my man Omar coming in from the top rope with a very, very generous $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Omar. So greatly, greatly appreciated. Should I play both Watson and Dobbs or swap one of them out for Trey Sermon as my flex PPR, or pick up Pearsall or Tutu to play one over those guys? Thanks and keep crushing it. Omar, a lot to dive into for this one. I do play Dobbs over Watson. I think no matter what happens with Wicks, Dobbs is locked into 80% plus routes, probably a 19-ish, 15 to 19% target share. Going to get some damage done with Jordan Love in a good matchup today. Texans, they got a bunch of injuries there. So it's not crazy to play both these guys. I probably would have both of them, like if you're picking only one of them in a vacuum, ranked ahead of all the other guys you mentioned here. I would lean here, though. I'll probably go Dobbs and then Trey Sermon. I know it's gross. I know it's ugly. But the Dolphins have been an absolute sev of a run defense, one of the worst teams in the trenches this year. And they're giving up the third most points to backs on the season. So I do think Sermon is much more in play. Let me see where I ended up with him. I got to bump him up in my rankings here. So let me do that and let you know where he ends up. But with Jonathan Taylor officially ruled out, I think it's going to be Sermon. I like Tutu, and it's full PPR, and he has been really good with both Puka and him out. So it's like, hold on. Let me see here. Sermon. I'm bumping him up to above Zach Moss, above Bucky Irving. I'd probably have him right around Mostert. So running back 30 for Trey Sermon is where he jumps up to for me. Tutu, I don't know. I want to dive into this one deep for you here, Omar, because you supported me in $10 super chat. That's so generous of you. It's just so tough. Again, I'd rather have Watson or Dobbs over any of these guys singularly, but now you're double stacking them. Now you're really hoping like this game completely shoots out. And both these teams, like if they could play it nice and slow and react to the other, they would. And what if they do? So this becomes a lot trickier. And meanwhile, Atwell, 11, 10, 10, these last 3 games, and that's in half PPR. So you look at the full PPR, 13, 12, 13. So yeah, not a huge benefit like Whittington, who I would probably have above them both. You know what? I'll just say Tutu. Again, 13, 12, 13, like full PPR. The guy has just been rock solid when they're out. And it's like, Sermon, maybe he scores the touchdown, but if he doesn't, you're probably left with 3 points. I just don't think there's going to be a world where Tutu kills you. So yeah, I'd play Dobbs and I would play Tutu myself is how I'd play that one. Omar F., thank you again so much for your generosity. Just so appreciated. I'm bumping Tutu up though. As we speak, I'm bumping up Whittington and Tutu to get them up to reflect again the Cooper Kupp news here that he is unlikely to go. I would lean for a Ram. I like Whittington a little more, but Tutu has been really, really solid. The yardage leader in 2 of those 3 games together without him. So yeah, Omar, that is the way I would go. And thank you again so much for your generous super chat. All righty, guys, we are going to start the rapid fire here with Tanya. Let me get my timer out. 15 minutes. Again, watching while I am setting up this timer, guys. A free way to support your boy. So many generous super chats today from my man Omar, finishing that off with $10. It is so greatly appreciated, but a free way. If you like what you're hearing is just hitting that thumbs up button, the heart button on Twitter, a thumbs up on YouTube or Facebook, truly help us grow and get out to more people. Seeing so many new names. Would love to have you like and subscribe. But 15 minutes, rapid fire. Let's do it. Juju or JMO, 100% JMO, even in PPR. Half PPR for Bays 203. Montgomery or BTJ? It is definitely Montgomery, no doubt about it. Giuseppe Caruso, good morning. Do I start Monty or Mason? It's 100% Monty. Come on, baby. Let's roll. Full PPR, pick one. Love or Cousins? Definitely love Kyle Singer. And pick one flex, Chubb, Dobbs, or Shakir. We are going to go Dobbs for that flex, Kyle Singer. Lamar or Daniels? I am definitely going Daniels, I think, today. Whew. Yeah, I thought you were going to trade one of them, Giuseppe. Get on that. And then we got PPR, Pitts or Freiermuth. I am going to go Kyle Pitts. I know it's not great, but he is he's really starting to come out of his shell a little bit there, Giuseppe Russo. So a lot more upside, in my opinion. Bob Dude. And we've seen the Seahawks get murdered by tight ends multiple times this year. Bob Dude, PPR, start flex, bench, Amari Cooper, Chase Brown, Tank Bigsby. Start flex, bench. So I got to bench one of these guys. I would be benching Amari Cooper of that group, Bob Dude. All righty. Tank, Kittle, or Chase Brown at the flex. Bowers at tight end. Love that. Oh, my God. Two best tight ends there. I'm just going to roll Kittle. I'm going to go double tight end and bully your opponent. Most points out of tight ends, the 49ers versus the Chiefs. I'm going to roll with that. Derek Just, flex full PPR. Deontay Johnson, Ayuk, or BTJ in a full. I am going with Deontay Johnson there in a great matchup. Thinking about starting Ladd over Debo, full PPR. I don't know what you're thinking, Terry R. That's a terrible choice. Justin Mars, sit one, half PPR. Mason, Connor Flowers. What's up, Justin? I would go, I think I'm sitting Connor of that group there. Terry R, pick two, full PPR. Mason, C. Brown, Watson, or James Cook. I am going to go Cook and Mason, I think. Oh, man, I hate benching Chase Brown, though. I love him. Pick two running backs and one flex. Chase Brown, Aaron Jones, Singletary, Madison, or Juju. We're going to go Chase Brown and Aaron Jones, and then we're going to go Juju for the flex, Mr. Russo. I'm going to go Rodgers over Mahomes with the two new weapons there. Best rest of season stash, full PPR. Sean Tucker, Ty Chandler, Samir White, or Vidal. I kind of like Vidal there if it's just a pure stash. Dylan Fink, what's up? Full PPR. Oh, we do have a super chat, so we are going to jump on over to those. Castro Raiders, May or Mahomes? I'm going Drake May, baby. Light him up against the best possible matchup. Plus 10 full points to the quarterback average. The Jacksonville Jags are allowing 10 more points than average for quarterback scoring this year. Best points by a mile. I'm definitely going Drake May there. And then Frizz Lil. Can I start Leggett over Devonta Smith today? No. No, you can't. I'm glad you asked. But the Giants aren't like a scary secondary. That game has like sneaky point potential there if the Giants show up. So I can't bench Devonta Smith. He's every game he's played, he's had at least 11 half PPR points this year. I don't know why people are asking about benching him. Like, I know AJ Brown's back, he's the stud, but Devonta Smith's great too. So I'm not benching him by any means. Back to the rapid fire. Thank you guys so much for your super chats. Dylan Fink, I don't know what you give me your whole roster here. I can't figure that one out, dude. I'm sorry. You got to list it like out as a question like this. Evans or Debo? I'm going to go Debo there, Astro, with Evans a little banged up for sure. Trade Daniels and Chuba for James Cook. I would go no, I would not do that deal. Bench one, half PPR, Achane, Bigsby, Cook, Hill, or Higgins. I would go oh, man. I think I'm benching Bigsby there, Chipper. Half PPR, Kraft or Andrews. I'm going Tucker Kraft there, Mr. Campanelli. Gino or Stafford. I'm going to go Gino for the super flex in that case. Like and share and sub. Let's get this man to 5K. Thank you, Giuseppe Russo. I greatly appreciate it. Need to flex Harrison, Chase Brown, Jay Mason, or Waddle. I am going to go Chase Brown and Jordan Mason for that group. Joel. Need one, JSN, Juju, or Trey Tucker in full PPR. I am going to go – I have to decide between JSN and Juju myself, and I'm going to go JSN, but I really am feeling Juju. I don't know. Might go back and forth on that one week. Should I start Kyler with MHJ healthy or stream Gino? I'm going to go Gino there, RP10. Goodson or Tyreek? Got to go Tyreek over Goodson. Come on. Come on. I like Chipper helping out other people in the chat. Good stuff. Mostert or Kirk? I am going to go Mostert. Njoku, Parkinson, Otten, or Ertz? I'm going to go Njoku there, Tunes. Kirk versus Mostert. Going Mostert there. We did get yet another super chat. So let's dive on in to Hey Better. Start 2. Tank Dell, Tank Bigsby, MHJ. Roll out the tanks today, baby. I would go both tanks there over MHJ. I know the concussion. He's cleared. He should be good to go. But he's getting a little boomer busty for me. So, yeah, I'm going to go the 2 tanks. Roll them on out. You always play Tank Dell when Nico's not in. And then I think Bigsby in line for a good 15 to 20 touches. The game flow should not be getting away from them like it did last week. You never know. The Jags do really suck. So, actually, I might just go MHJ Tank Dell there because it's like there is some real downside to Tank Bigsby. So, yeah, you know what? I thought it would be fun to just roll out the tanks. But ultimately, I would, if I had this decision, I would play MHJ over Tank Bigsby myself. So, yeah, let's roll with that one. MHJ Tank Dell is how I play that one. Thank you so much again for the super chat, guys. You guys have been so generous today. All righty, we were off on Hemdog asked a couple, and we got Sebastian. Zach Moss or Bucky or B. Allen? I got to go Bucky. I don't like any of these ones, Sebastian, but I'm going to go Bucky myself. Like, share, and subscribe, people. Thank you. Giuseppe Russo. Pick 2 flex, full PPR. Demario Douglas, Ayuk, Mostert, Michael Wilson, or Waddle. I would go in a full PPR. Ayuk and Demario Douglas there, Tunes. Pick 1 flex, half PPR. Leggett, Tyrone Tracy, Shakir, or Wan'Dale Robinson. I would go Tyrone Tracy, I think. It's him or Shakir for me in that one, Kyle. Joel, Chubb, or Eckler, 1 flex. I'm going to go Eckler in that flex. Gibbs or Monty. Oh, man. I think I'm just going to keep riding Monty. A little bit safer right now. Quincy Davis. Good morning, beautiful people. Do I pick up Leggett or Trey Tucker? I would, if you have to play them, I'd probably go Leggett either way. Cap for life is where I am leaning for that one. My God. All righty. We now have, one second. I just wanted to check with Christian Watson where I put him in the rankings. Yeah, bumped him down just a little bit there below those Rams guys, making sure that was reflected. Adam Thielen, where the stash? I guess, but I think they're going to keep giving Xavier Leggett more and more of a role, get those young guys active. What? Oh, half PPR. Ingram or McBride. Hate relying on Murray's inconsistent QB play and think the Pats-Jags turns into more of a shootout. I think so, mind yours, too. I'm with you on the shootout potential of that game. But I'm still going to go McBride. I absolutely love this guy. I know MHA is back, but 17 PPR points last week. McBride's a top 5 tight end every week. Such a great player. That's where I roll. My man Levi C, always super chat. Thank you so much, brother. You are so generous all the time. It's so greatly appreciated. PPR, Bigsby or Ken Walker. If Walker is out, backups would be Jalen Warren or a Colts running back. You got to wait it out for Walker. It's only an illness. I don't think it's much of anything. I haven't seen any updates that this is a huge concern, and if it is, then I think going to one of the Colts running backs would be fine. I like Bigsby today, I do, but Ken Walker, again, top 6 running back every single week at this point. He's worth waiting it out for. The gap between a Colts running back and Bigsby is far less than Ken Walker and any of these guys in my mind. So, yeah, I wait that one out for Ken Walker, Levi. Thank you again so much for your generous super chat here, brother. Consistently helping out your boy here. All righty, so we did mind yours. Rolling with Downs and Garrett Wilson over Waddle, Worthy, and Moss. I would probably play Worthy over Downs myself near Ray. Mondre is officially active. Thank you, mind yours. I appreciate it. Madison or Zach Moss or Bucky Irving. I'd go Madison there. Charles Ward. Christian Kirk, Whittington, or Tracy. I kind of like Whittington there the most. I'm trying to find where I have Christian Kirk. I want to make sure I do not have him above Whittington in my rankings here. And I do, so I have to change that. Christian Kirk below Whittington for me, and I'm going to bump down Michael Pittman below Whittington as well. All righty. Because Kirk does way worse when Ingram's in the lineup, unfortunately. Giuseppe Crusoe picked up Tua to prevent people who need a QB. Now I have Tua. I mean, that's nice, but I wouldn't trade. No, I would not trade Daniels for James Cook. I wouldn't. Tua's not moving the needle much there. Jalen Hurts or Baker Mayfield this week. I would go Jalen Hurts, but man, that's so close. Cooper, Douglas, Mooney, McConkey, Wilson, start 2. I would start Garrett Wilson, and I would start Darnell Mooney from this group, Lewis Winchester. Kyler Murray or Drake May, asks Kev. I would go Drake May is where I'm going. I'm telling you guys, I am in love with Drake May this week. I'm getting him in my lineup, the best matchup for QBs out there. McLaurin or Brian Thomas Jr., half PPR. I would go McLaurin very, very easily there, Alex Yan. He has been so steady so far. After those first 2 duds, he's really, really picked it up. Then we got Chris Frazier asking, pick 1 running back, 1 receiver, 1 flex. James Cook, Bigsby, I'd go James Cook for the running back. I would go Higgins for the receiver, and I would go BTJ for the flex there is how I would play that one. Thanks, my guys. Let's all have a week. Indeed, Mountain Man, I hope you have a week as well. Start Stevenson today. I just got notified that he is active. Yeah, I would start him over Tyron Tracy myself. Stevenson in, ETN out. Indeed, Cap for life. We covered that one. Thank you so much. Jaden Reed or Tank Dell? I'm going Jaden Reed always in that case. I never bet Jaden Reed. I don't know how he's even in question here right now. Bigsby or Whittington. I would go Bigsby over Whittington. Michael Clark. Going to get about 20 carries. Just came out 10 minutes ago. Thank you. Whittington or Singletary. I'd go Whittington over Singletary. Tian Wen. Stevenson or Achan. I'd go Achan. J. Padge. Hunter Henry or Kyle Pitts. Give me Kyle Pitts there, round 2. James Cook or Achan. Give me James Cook very, very slightly. Hunter Henry to Kyle Pitts. Ooh, we got the timeouts coming for round 2. Repeating questions. Rudolph or Wilson. I would go if it's Russell Wilson or Kyle or Mason Rudolph, I go Mason Rudolph. Like, good Lord, Michael Lopez. How did we get there? Alan Wu, play B-Rob? Definitely B-Rob. I'm not worried about reduced usage against Carolina. He's going to smash. All righty. Stevenson or Achan, another repeater. Start. Oh, man. You're not doing your job over there, Capital. You got to put these guys in timeout. We got to make sure you have that power moving forward. Buenos Dias, Lobo. Pick 1 flex PPR. Tracy, Watson, Waddle, or Tutu. Gracias, amigo. I would go I think I'm going Tracy there, but Tutu is very, very close. Probably the safest option, crazily, out of this. You know, just go Tutu. It's full PPR. That really does make a difference. Hunter Henry, I hate the repeating question. Full PPR. Need a running back and a flex. Chuba, Connor, Godwin. You're going Chuba and Godwin is where I'm going. Can't bench Chase or AJB. Yeah, I totally agree as well. Douglas or Ayuk. I'd go Ayuk very, very slightly myself. Hunter Henry or I'm not answering any questions for Raul too. Bigsby or Jordan Addison this week. I'd go Jordan Addison. I love him. I love that shootout game with the Lions and them. Pitts or Ingram. I'm going to go Evan Ingram for sure. I'm going to go Demario Douglas over Ladd McConkey. Kyle Toons. I would go Hubbard over Aaron Jones for sure. Steven Hernandez. I would go Dobbs over McConkey, just given the questionable nature of it. London, Flowers, Reed, Higgins, Dell, Devonta Smith, pick 3. You got to go London. Don't even ask about London and Reed tunes. What are we even doing here? And I would go probably Flowers for the last one up there. But limit that so it's just like pick one of Higgins, Dell, Flowers. You know you're not asking about Reed and London anymore. Come on. Kelsey or McBride rest of the season. I'd go Kelsey, number 1 option there. Debo or Addison PPR. I would go Debo, sure, 10% even. Stevenson or Jordan Mason. I would go Mason for you, the Marison family. William Thames, James Conner or Tank Bigsby. I would go James Conner over Tank Bigsby. Bigsby or Pop Douglas. I'm going to go Bigsby there, even in a full PPR. Ladd of Tank Bigsby. I would go Tank Bigsby over Ladd. Tank Bigsby or less than 100% Jordan Mason. I'm going Jordan Mason there, Joe. Tank or BTJ, just thumbs up. Thank you, Stoner with a boner. Love the name. And I would go BTJ myself. The Young Chosen. Start James Cook or Jordan Mason. I would go James Cook. Trade by Dan. No trade questions right now, Giuseppe. PPR. Flex JMO, Ayuk, Tracy, and if Walker is out or Charbonnet. We're going Walker, no doubt, and I would go JMO over the rest. What up, Wolfpack? Even if Walker's out, I'd still go JMO. Kraft or Otten. I'm going to go Kraft for sure. Austin Forrester. Gino or Darnold. Give me Darnold today, no doubt. Are we going with Ayuk or Mason? I would go Deontay over both those guys in full PPR. Half PPR, Jameson or JSN? It is definitely Jameson, no doubt about it for me, DJ. Najee or Tank Bigsby? Give me Tank Bigsby. Don't give me Najee there. I would switch that one up. Blunt Brush. I've got a lot of weed names. I love it. PPR, B. Hall, Jay Wilson, Dobbins, or Montgomery. I would go Breece Hall. You got to ride that one, Cameron Zicki. How do you have those options? All righty, guys. That timer is the last call because it is my Patriots. I said hard 9:30 stop. Thank you so much for the 29 super chats we got. You guys are so consistently generous. Omar with that $10 one, the top of the day. On your way out, you don't mind hitting that thumbs up so this gets boosted out, hits more people. It would be so greatly appreciated. Once again, thank you so much for spending your Sunday morning with me. Go Pats. Let's go. Best of luck to all you guys in week 7. I hope you dominate in a world full of fancy sheep guys. Be that wolf. Later.